You made a terrible mistake, friend.
Whatever happens, happens.
That's fair.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze.
It means no worries for the rest of your days.
It's a problem-free
philosophy.
Hakuna Matata.
Matata.
Look, I don't know how that's gonna, does that turn out? Does that sound okay when you sing with that voice changer?
No.
Lead. I'm fucking Patrick.
You know, Tyler, I think
I'm Patrick on steroids.
I think I know what you'd enjoy. A really nice. There's a product called the Elgato Stream Deck.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with said product?
No. I'm assuming though it's something similar.
Well, no. But and I'm gonna put it in the chat here. Basically, with the Elgato Stream Deck, it's a little little display of 15 buttons, and you can map individual scene transit when you're streaming, scene transitions, overlays. You can have buttons set up to start recording, start streaming, stop streaming, and you can have folders which have different other actions and stuff. So you can have a folder that starts your music, stops your music, whatever. And so I'm assuming if you do it right, you can also have buttons set up to change your voice when you need to.
I like this.
So you could do it you could set up different profiles, I'm assuming, which is how I think it would work. And then you just hit a button and you'll go from sounding like yourself to sounding like whatever else you want to sound.
This sounds great.
The full size is pretty expensive. There is a mini version with 6 buttons, but you can make folders, right? So you can just compound those folders and do whatever you want.
Okay, so we gotta.
I'll turn that off. We gotta figure out. Do we want for this? We're stuck between
2.
Yeah.
This one or the custom pitch.
I like the custom pitch better.
You got it, friend. You got a friend in me. No?
Good God, that's bad.
How is it bad?
Did Vancouver win? I think Vancouver won. All right, I'm happy.
All
right,
they won? That's great. That's so awesome. I'm so happy for you. This is fantastic.
All right.
I'm sorry, I'm back.
All right, welcome back.
Thank you.
I feel like I should wear like a demon mask or something. All right, are we ready for this?
Are we ever ready for this?
We're recording.
Window closed, door closed, fan off. All right.
Oh, it was on. I'm sorry. Let's see. That's right there. That's right there. Okay, let's do this.
Let's do this. You cheated not only the game, but yourself. You didn't grow. You didn't improve. You took a shortcut and gained nothing. You experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked. Nothing was risked. I can't say risked. Nothing was risked, and nothing was gained. It's sad that you don't know the difference.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Casual Master Quest. This is your host for the evening. This is Tyler Vidito. How is it going, people? We got so much good stuff coming your way, but let us not forget, never, ever, ever, we have a cool person named Nick. Nick, my partner. How's it going, buddy?
It's all right. What's up, dude?
Not much. Not much.
Yeah. It's gonna be one hell of an episode, I think.
Do you think so? I wasn't sure personally. For me, I feel like my side of the episode should be like lined with black satin or something like that.
Right.
Given my little situation. Also, I noticed on this podcasting notes here, it says introduction, Nick is hosting. So what's going on here?
I forgot to change that from last week. Also,
What's going on here, Nick?
I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about, Tyler, because if you look at it clearly, it clearly says Tyler is hosting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I must have looked at it wrong. Okay, so yeah, I'm hosting. Man, a lot of stuff happened this week. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of sad stuff, a lot of, not as happy stuff. But you know what? It's a good week. This is a week of recovery. We not only managed to figure out what the fuck was going on with my microphone, we are pulling ourselves together and pushing forward. But we have so much progress to talk about. Nick, tell us about what's going on in your end, man. What's your week been like?
My week's been good. Closed up 2, 3. Officially now we're done with 3 of my 4 projects from the semester. One of them being, we talked about last week, we talked about the website and the videos that I made. So that was project number 1. That was the first one to close. Then another one, we had to make a little machine thing out of laser cut materials and cardboard. I don't know if I've posted pictures on my socials, but I will do so actually. It was a pain. I don't like building things. I'm not a handsy, crafty man myself, so it was a challenge from the get-go. But we were one of the best projects in the class. We did like I think a 90% on that project. So
Nice.
Yeah, and then there was another project that you played a small part in, Tyler.
I played a small part.
Yeah.
How so?
You were part of the narration team for the project video, for the tabletop game that me and my team designed called Obsessed with Success.
Well, holy shit, you did it. Oh yeah, I was a part of that.
Yeah.
Put in there now. I went la la la, and all of a sudden it's like boom. They wanted me as the voice actor, and it just worked out like really well. Yeah, you made a hell of a good video for that too.
Appreciate it. That's I can't take I personally can't take any credit for that.
Right, Mr. Fong,
that was all,
I believe.
Yeah, my teammate Tim Fong, he did a fantastic job with it. He did it all in one day. And we will be having a special in a few weeks, a little side quest for that goes a little bit more in depth into the process and what I actually did.
Oh yeah, a lot of history behind that, and I think you guys are going to enjoy that. Anything else that's been going on your week?
No, that's really it. School's just been kind of like we've actually finally reached the tail end of the semester. Like everything's just been wrapping up really nice. I've got a final. When this comes out, I'll be done with my first final. I'll have another project coming up a few days after that, in a few days, and then another final, and then I'm done. And then you visit.
I visit. Holy shit, we got 2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks, dude, from our time. Like technically 12 days or so for the people who are listening, but holy shit, it's 2 fucking weeks. So much has fucking happened that I have been losing track over like all my plans and stuff, but things are pushing forward. This is great, man.
Yep. No, I'm excited.
Hope you're fucking hyped, because I am going to, I shouldn't say anything in case it's illegal in Canada. I am going to sleep comfortably somewhere in your house.
It's fine here. All you'd have to do is apologize if we ever got stopped by the cops and be like, "Oh, sorry, bud. Sorry for wasting your time."
No, do I have to say "sui"? Or can I say sorry?
And just say sorry.
Okay. I mean, Yeah, you're American or something like that. You know, like, oh,
No,
you know,
we don't care as long as you're just not being an asshole. We don't care where you're from or what
an
you sound like.
asshole.
We're not all.
Suri.
The accent's not that strong over here.
Sui. Do you Sui? Okay, so over on my end, and cue the super sad music here. I actually lost somebody this week, and I've been actually. I didn't think it was gonna be this hard. I actually I wanted to post about it on Twitter because I see people do it all the time, and it's like, I wanted to post on Twitter, hey, would love some, you know, and maybe not thoughts and prayers and stuff, but you know, a little support and all that stuff. And I was like, it posting about the death of a loved one on a social media where it's not family or friend based, it just seems so self-serving.
Right.
And so I avoided doing that kind of shit. And I have not really experienced a family death in quite a long time, almost 2 decades. Ironically enough, the last person that passed away was my great grandfather, but his wife, my great grandmother, yeah, she went. I would like to say peacefully. I don't honestly know because there was a lot of morphine involved, but you know, I tell myself she did. I know that that's kind of sad and dark and stuff, but I seriously don't know. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it. I've done a lot of crying, emotional outbursts, all that good stuff. The one thing I haven't done yet, Nick, is drink. It's kind of messing me up, man.
I mean, that's from the way I see it, that's good. Because it doesn't seem like you haven't had any outlets. Like you have had those outlets to some extent, so you haven't had the need to rely on some alcohol to get any of the grieving process kick-started.
Right. I mean, that does make sense. Like I said, I've been having, you know, I've definitely shed a lot of tears over this, and I think being able to let it out without the need of any stimulation like that is a good way of doing it. I decided though after today, you know, if I feel like I'm in a good mood, I, you know, can take a sip on it, but you know, I can't grab the old gin and squirt and, you know, try to celebrate my great grandmother on a roof somewhere. But shit, man. This shit, just losing a family member, it's really,
No, I can relate.
it really fucks you up, man.
The only thing I can really say to that is not that it's less devastating when it's somebody who's, you know, elderly, but like you'd like to think that they lived a life, and so celebrating that life instead of mourning. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like compared to somebody who passed away when they were maybe 40 or 50, when you know they still had a lot of time left.
Right. No, that does make sense. She was 96 years old. So
that's
I
awesome.
mean, yeah, she rocked it up until a few years ago where she lived by herself and everything. Like she was self-sustaining. Yeah, that word. Or sufficient.
Sure.
It could have been either word. I'll pick it.
Yeah.
Self-sustaining. Yeah,
Independent.
that one too. Yeah, okay, sure, that one works too. You say that word to America.
Freedom.
Ooh, gives me chills. Say it again.
Freedom.
Okay, fine. You don't have to.
Timing is everything, Tyler.
But yes, we buried her today. Everything's all squared away on that one, and you know, I got a lot of family that's still shook and all that stuff. Technically, myself included, but yeah, got to work on. As I said in the beginning of this podcast, this is a podcast where we push on and we get through it. I will recover. I will enjoy myself. And what other way to enjoy myself than to find the outlet that is video games?
Right. Yeah. Excelsior, as the great Stanley has said. Onwards and upwards.
But yeah, shit. Okay. And now I'm going to start thinking of Stanley. God damn it, Nick! You can't do this to me, man. You
I
can't
mean,
do
it's
this to
fine.
me.
You're gonna have to because I don't know if I've actually shared it or we talked about it, but I booked tickets for Avengers, Tyler. Avengers Endgame in
Oh
nice, cushy
shit!
VIP seats for when you arrive. The day after you
What?
arrive, actually.
Okay, yes, okay. So the day after I arrived, you told me you got us. What the fuck entitles VIP treatment? What is VIP?
So for the VIP over here at the theater close by, there's a separate bar. There's a different menu, so a higher, just a much higher class menu. We can order actual food, bar with cocktails, draft beer, and then when you get to the actual seats, these are individual, like lazy boy kind of style, like seats, large reclining seats with a foldable tray that you can pull out. People come in to take your order and bring in food to you. I think the food service stops about halfway in terms of people coming to take your order. Um, I believe some of the seats have seat warmers.
Seat warmers. Are you serious? Isn't it
Oh,
the
yeah.
movie theater going to be hot enough?
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
I mean, I know you're in fucking Canada, but I can't get that cold out there. I mean, I guess maybe during the winter, the heat just can't keep up. to
Or
it,
I
but-
might be thinking of a different theater. But anyways, these are really nice, comfortable seats.
Are you saying
um,
that's not possible? You just got my hopes up. Maybe I do want my seat warm at 70 degrees. I want
I
72,
can't
Nick.
remember, Tyler, because I don't often go to the VIP
What's
theater.
the point of the VIP treatment if you can't remember the very important part?
The very important part is that you have a nice big space to yourself and you can set your seat back if you want it.
But I want to be with you, Nick.
We'll be sitting right next to each other, but they're like individual seats.
Is this separate but equal?
To some extent.
This is horrible.
It's okay. we'll
Okay,
do that for next week.
important question. Asking for a friend. If two people were to sit in these seats, could they hold hands?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I, on behalf of my friend, of course, am okay with this. I'll work with this.
But yeah, we're excited. We've got Avengers planned. And that's as far as like any concrete plans for when you arrive. But
Oh man, I was thinking more about like the asphalt plans we have, but yeah, the concrete plans, those are going to be pretty crazy too.
I appreciated
No?
that, Tyler. I may not have reacted, but I really appreciated that joke.
Okay, thank you. It's called repression. When you take something that stresses you up or causes you stress, you try to counteract it by either being childish or just otherwise, cracking jokes all the time. And that is currently my defense mechanic. Always been, or always has been.
I very much relate to that.
Fair enough, Nick. Now, Nick, you have made the great Mufasa in the sky proud by finally picking a certain game back up. And by Mufasa, I mean Iwata. Iwata, he comes down from the sky, and he says, "Thank you, my child."
I don't know what you're talking about, Tyler.
Nick, I know for a fucking fact you started playing Breath of the Wild again.
Oh, you're talking about Breath of the Wild. Yeah. I picked it up a little bit.
What other one was I talking about?
I don't know. I'm just trying to rile you up, Tyler.
Oh, okay. If there's a different game, please fill me in. Yeah, Nick's been playing Breath of the Wild. It's so nice. He keeps sending me all these weird and cutesy little messages on Discord that's making me all giddy and stuff. And it's like, I want to talk nerdy with them, but then he's like, I'm too busy playing. It's like, oh.
Yeah. I spent because of a couple of my projects wrapping up have led to me having some unusual amount of downtime, where I'm like, I don't actually have to do anything right now, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I'm like, let's just start playing let's just start getting through Breath of the Wild, and it's been fantastic. It really has been.
Now, how many shrines have you done so far?
I think my total shrine count now is up to 60.
Now, I would say, doing normal exploration, you are starting to hit the soft point of where you're going to find shrines just by looking around naturally. I would say the hard point before you start like really digging into it is probably going to be somewhere around 80, probably. And then
Right.
the last 40, there's usually like puzzles that seem kind of inconspicuous that you don't really notice just yet. And so, have you found all of these without actually looking up any guides or anything yet?
Um, I think there was one that I looked up a guide for, and
Okay.
this was in the Gerudo Tower, the one that just rises up out of a pit. And there's one just off on a little ledge that you have to wait till a particular time of day where the shadow comes onto the little metal plate, and then you fire an arrow into the sky.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was standing there because I found that plate first, and I'm like, this seems like something to do with the shrine. And then I was looking around, I couldn't see anything, and so I left it alone. This was during my first major playthrough. And I came back to this, and I'm like, there has to be something. And I was standing there, and then I saw the shadow of the tower come by, and then the thing lights up, and I'm like, all right, shit, this is the time. There's a specific time right now where I have to do something, but I couldn't figure out what to do, and then I looked it up. So that was the only time where I was like, there's just doesn't really seem like any kind of hint around, and then I realized I had the hint in my quest journal. It was in relation to I think a Rito song that you hear, or something, and so I'm like,
There,
oh, okay,
when you talk about the one where the shadow passes across the pedestal,
yeah,
uh, amazingly enough, the if you were to go in the tower, I believe Cass would be up there ready to sing a song about a legendary hero that talks about that exact thing.
oh, okay,
Yeah, fun fact for you. It's
Oh.
it's so weird how Nintendo would give you multiple different hints to find your way to the same source. That way you're not like, oh, you're supposed to check this one thing. And it's like, no, there's different ways they'll lead you to the same mud
right.
hole.
As we figured out while we were talking about fighting the mini bosses. Oh well, technically bosses, all the different blights. So while I was
Yes.
doing the dungeon for the water beast, I can't remember its name, and we were skirting around the outside trying to destroy the
Water Blade Cannon? Or
water
are you
blight
talking
cannon. Yeah.
about
No, I
Varuda?
can't remember the name. Yeah, Varuda was it?
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe so.
I couldn't remember the divine beast name.
Okay,
And
it's the
so
only one I know.
yeah, while you're trying to gain entry, Varuda's defenses lobs like giant ice blocks at you.
Yes.
And my first reaction was like, all right, shit, something's flying at me. Let's pull out my bow and arrow. And then as we're talking about it, you're like, you could have just used stasis on them. I'm like, that makes so much sense. It makes
Not
sense that you use your
stasis,
eyes.
cryosis.
Cryosis, sorry, yeah.
That's okay. It's what you meant. It sounded like.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, that's it. Honestly, it's pretty cool. And from all the like little clips I've seen and watching other people play, it's nice that there's a game where there's no like hard and fast rule that I've played in a while for like each encounter. You can do really whatever you want. Like some strategies make it easier, some strategies make it harder, but it's up to you.
I'm pretty sure, without any doubt in my mind, that almost every single thing that you could do in that game could be done with at least two different methods, if
Right.
not three. And like two is if they like super strong line it. Like there's a puzzle in I think it's called Naboris, the camel divine beast,
Right.
where you have to put electric balls down to power up a door to get to a chest.
Right.
And you could do it that way. Or if you wanted to, you could dump your entire inventory of metal weapons and stuff and create a circuit to run from each of those switches. And so you only need one. And you just use Magnesis Steel and line it up and all stuff. And just the most silly, inane shit like that just
Right.
makes it a good laugh. And
Right.
how many divine beasts have you done so far?
3 of them. I haven't done the salamander yet.
And how far are you to doing that?
Not very far. I just went to find the kid who had to get the painkillers for the boss's back. I just found him, and then I went off. I just fucked off and did my own thing. I can't remember what I was. I'm just running around exploring, collecting all the different elemental resistance sets. Right. So I've got the fireproof set. I've got the unfreezable set. I've got the full Zora armor, so I can swim as fast as I wanted to whenever I needed to. I'm working on finding the barbarian set, and we were talking about discovering shrines just through exploration. One of my favorite ones would have to be the one in like the Gerudo Desert and on the like northeastern side where you have all the statues. And I just stumbled upon it, and I took a sand seal because I'm like, hell yeah, done with Naboris, I can fucking explore the desert, grab the sand seal, going around. Found one of those crocodile things. I was scared for my life, so I just kept going. And then I ran into the statues, and I'm like, all right, at the base or of each statue, there's a little thing. There's all these metal balls around. There has to be. If this was for a Korok seed, I'd be upset because it was a lot of work. But it wasn't. I'm like, fuck yeah, shrine, dude, let's go. And I love the puzzles and the shrines too.
Balls. Are you thinking of telling me like the one with all the statues?
Yeah, the large statues. So the statues of the seven heroines. And
sure.
Yeah.
Whatever. No, I know what you're talking about. Also, my other friend Nick in the chat is saying, and here is me who doesn't have time for this shit. You see, Nick, you buddy, friend of mine, I've pushed so hard to get you to play this game. I believe you're pretty much further than Nick, who's had this game since pretty much day one. So if you want to throw some shade, maybe some support, send it his way, by all means. But yes,
I just didn't want to pick up the game because I knew it would suck me in. I just didn't want to pick up the game in short periods of an hour and a half. Like, so when I picked it up earlier this week, I sat and played for 6 hours.
Okay.
Right.
So for anybody who's listening, no in particular, you could be playing on your Vita and enjoying yourself, I guess. Since you just bought yourself and your sister a new PlayStation Vita for some reason. Or you could play on the fucking Nintendo Switch and finally beat Breath of the Wild. One of the two. I mean, the options is there. Nick says here he has 3 divine beasts and 80 or so shrines. So it looks like, Nick, you might have to pick up your own pace here.
I'm happy going along at my own pace. My next goal is to start working towards getting I want to go and do more combat and practice so I can go into the Trial of the Sword, because I want the fucking Master Sword always ready to use, because I'm so tired of using two-handed weapons. I hate two-handed.
Oh, you poor fool.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be. I got up to level 6 and then I died because of stupid things that I did.
Fun facts: the sword does not stay permanently powered up. Well, okay, yes, it does. In the way you're describing it, like versus the fights in Ganon, it bumps itself up to 60. That's how it works. The durability either is extended or stays the same. It doesn't. It's still technically breakable, if you want to call it that.
Okay. I mean, from what I was reading, it says it stays permanently charged and at 60, not even when you're not fighting Ganon or corrupted guardians or whatever.
Yeah, it will do 60 damage, but it will need to recharge after a while, I believe.
Huh.
Oh shit! Did I just? I hope I'm wrong. Let me be wrong.
I wouldn't know then why. Well, I'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find out when the time comes.
Shit, I feel like I kind of broke you with that. You are. I mean, I'm also excited for you because you also are on the right direction to start doing Ballad of the Champions.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite part by far, especially towards the end of it. But that was because I had explored and done so much of Breath of the Wild that I really didn't know what else to do, and it just felt like a fresh air. I don't know what it would be like if you're to do it, in the middle of the game.
Is Ballad of the Champions the one where you start again at the Shrine of Resurrection and you have to stay on the plateau?
No. When you do Ballad of the Champions, you'll fly to different locations near each of the divine beasts, and you will explore like the history of each of the champions, including I don't want to spoil it too much, so you'll get to see more story with everybody, then they'll give you a good challenge worth your time, I'd like to think.
Right. I would like to say just a few more things about Breath of the Wild.
Of course.
I'm currently I'm just currently looking for the barbarian armor set, looking for more shrines, finding Korok seeds on the way, and looking for the memories, unlocking them. Just because it doesn't seem like that hard to do, and I am a little bit of a completionist and collectionist. Just so in a very casual way. Like if I can complete this and collect these, I would like to do that. Not in like if I have to complete this insane challenge. Anyways, so that's that. Um, Playing the game in the original language in Japanese um, is by far one of the best decisions I've ever made because I started the game I think in English, and just like with anime, it didn't feel right.
It felt wrong. Also, I would like to correct myself right here in live. It will, I guess, become unbreakable. So, which it's weird to me thinking about that, but I guess sure. But yes, the voice acting leaves a lot to be desired on the English end, and switching to Japanese is very nice.
It's very nice. It makes it feel more natural. And the last thing I will say is, I'm my favorite story from the whole from the whole game so far has been Link and Mipha. Just because I like cutesy shit, and it makes me sad. It really does.
What, that his now like 130-year-old girlfriend is currently not there anymore?
Yeah, yeah. It makes me sad.
Oh, it looks like you're just gonna have to be with the rest of the people and ship Link X Zelda. Oh well.
Zelda doesn't deserve Link.
Are you about to start talking about like necrophilia or something like here? Because I'm getting kind of concerned.
No, I'm just saying it's sad, dude. Like they fucking, that would have worked out, but then fucking Ganon happened, and then everybody died, and now Link's kind of like, I don't know who you are, but it seems like you're kind of decent, and now I will never know who you are because you're dead.
It sounds like the world's saddest hentai.
It's not like there's anything wrong with that. We don't kink shame. It's 2019.
True. If that's the case, then I would say that the more politically correct hentai is Link and Mipha's older brother, Sidon, Prince Sidon, go to lament over the grave, and that they find out that they have something in common. They both love Mipha. And maybe with that, they see what sparks in the waters.
I mean, Link has cross-dress in the game, so I don't see that as being unrealistic.
Ooh, dressed like a Zora. I gotta get my local frag going. Hey.
But yeah, no, I'm honestly truly enjoying the game. Except for a few performance issues here and there. It is a beautiful game by far. Just the fact that I can climb anything if I wanted to, and just like, go in like a straight line from A to B. It's fantastic.
I do wonder with the new versions of the Switch coming out sometime in the near future, if the nicer, more improved version would be able to handle the frame rate. Frame rates of the game, because there's a lot of points, especially whether it's fire tech related, that it chugs really hard.
Yeah.
Were you potentially interested? I guess the answer would be yes, if you wanted to get a newer version of the Switch that has higher, more powerful tech. Or do you feel like you're okay with the current console you have?
Here's where, at least with my DS that I've had, between my DS Lite and my 3DS, the only time I wanted to upgrade was when the games were no longer coming out for the DS, and I could only get it on 3DS. And if the case is going to be where the games are backward compatible between the Switch and the Switch 2 or whatever it's called, I'd have no problem until I see like a constant performance issues. If Pokemon Sword and Shield are going to be similar in performance to Let's Go Eevee, where there was really not many performance issues I noticed, if at all, there was no frame drops, everything looked good, then I'd have no problem, and I'd hold off until I absolutely needed it.
When you're playing Breath of the Wild, are you playing it typically on the TV or more in handheld mode?
Oh, no, TV. I can't do handheld mode because honestly, for that game, there's too much information on such a small screen, and the colors are so vibrant that I don't know what it is. Personally, like everything just sort of blended together. And so having it on the TV, it was nice. It just made it nice and easy to play through.
And honestly, I would recommend it. It's weird because I actually played most of the game on handheld, but it wasn't by choice because I was playing it while I was driving a semi truck out in the road.
Right.
But obviously, once I was playing the game and then I put it into the the plate. What do you call that? Dock plate?
The Switch dock.
Switch dock. Oh, it was so nice. Jeez. Is there anything else you want to talk about with Breath of the Wild?
No, like I'm just having fun with it, dude. Like I really am. It's nice. It's a nice change of pace. From all the shooters and just everything else. I did play a little bit of Destiny with some friends, but I haven't touched Destiny in weeks. Otherwise, I'm just having fun playing a game where it's just the game.
Just that's it right there.
Yeah.
I was kind of afraid that you're going to go for something like Sekiro, but I think you and I talked about we appreciate From Software games existing, but they're not for us.
Yes, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that, and I'm excited.
And I guess my point of that is you chose instead to, reach back to roots that somebody forced on you. I don't know who specifically, but
I mean, I go back. I do backtrack quite a lot. Like it was 2017. When did the Wild Hunt come out? I believe the Wild Hunt came out in 2015.
For Witcher?
For Witcher, yeah, it came out in 2015, and I only played it in 2017. Like I played a little bit in I think 2016. But I guess on console it felt off on a controller, and I know even on PC a lot of people prefer playing the Wild Hunt on controller just because of just the way the button layout is. But it grabbed me. The game 100% grabbed me, but I didn't really go back to it until 2017, 2018, where then I put 120 hours into it in like in a few weeks.
I have that same issue too, where I will push off what I know is going to be a great experience, but for one reason or another, I keep, just pushing it off. For example, Spider-Man. I wanted to get the game. I knew I was going to enjoy it. I held off, and then when I finally played it, why didn't I play this before? It was so fun. And honestly, I think I never realized what that situation is going to be until it happens right then and there. But this time, Nick, I think I might have found the game that's been doing that, and I just haven't bitten the bud yet. And I think once I play it, I'm going to love it. I'm scared.
What game are you talking about?
Stardew Valley. I'm afraid that
Stardew Valley. I love it so much.
I've watched so many people play it. I've watched my wife play it. I watched my wife play it while she streams it. I watched it while she streams it to me while she's watching somebody else streaming it to her. And she's looking at me with hopeful eyes or dumbfounded eye. I don't know. And I've been really strongly considering the idea of finally getting Stardew Valley, but Stardew Valley it's going to be, that one game that just, oh gosh, she's giving me the most dreamy look in the world. I'm scared, Nick. Help me. Stardew Valley is a terrible game for me to play right now because it would stop me from playing other important games that other
Such as?
Such
as, Tyler?
She's making a heart shape with the hands. Such as RuneScape 3. So
okay. Do you want to tell us about RuneScape? Which version of RuneScape, Tyler?
I believe it is the best version, RuneScape 3.
Our podcast is about to get reported. You know that.
Nick, I will say it once and once more.
RuneScape 3 is the best version of all time. Only fools who are stuck in the past would play RuneScape Old School. Or
I believe.
Old School RuneScape.
Yeah, there you go.
One of the two. He gets it mixed up. Okay, yeah. I'm playing RuneScape 3. So what happened was last weekend, after the podcast, it was my father-in-law's birthday. And actually, I wonder, did I tell that story already?
Honestly, if you did, I can't remember because I've got a shit memory sometimes.
Yeah, I can't remember. Long story short, my father-in-law plays RuneScape, and he kind of goaded me into the idea of trying it myself, and I did. I teased it a little bit. I was thinking about quitting and stuff, and then my grandmother got like, in we talked about it, right? And it turned out RuneScape 3 was an old friend with open arms waiting where no one else. I mean, there was plenty actually other people willing to reach out to me, but to keep me preoccupied for hours with just the most mindless number raising nonsense, it was there for me. And so in my grief, I in fact got 99 smithing. We did talk about this last week.
Yeah, this we talked about last week. So you took a hypothetical and made it reality.
I suggested last week that I lied and just said that I was playing RuneScape to save me hours upon hours of time. And then I fucking went and did it, Nick. I got 99 smithing now, and I'm working on wood cutting, and I have no control over my life right now.
Sometimes in times of challenge and difficulty, it's a good thing.
What pisses me off so far is not once has my father-in-law contacted me. He compared high scores, and then he just left me the dry. I see him, I go to message him as I'm typing in the message. It's like he plays for 5 minutes at a time, and then he's like, "Oh, Tyler's on. No. Bye-bye. Sucker thought he was gonna have do quests with me, that fool." And oh well, okay. I've been working on a skill. I've been having fun with it. It's just weird because to me, RuneScape means you click on a tree, you're cutting wood. After you get 28 pieces of wood, you bank it, you repeat the steps. Now shit has gotten a little weird and a little bit more complicated, Nick, if you want max experience an hour.
Right.
Let me tell you, do you like to manage your prayer abilities, your prayer levels? Maybe you want to do it by having an item that you can only click once every 5 minutes, and then have a prayer renewer potion every 5 minutes as well. And then maybe for the more experience, instead of cutting the tree down, you cast a spell on that tree once every 30 seconds. And then you got to click on it again to start mining that tree, cutting the tree. But then you got to watch out, because every once in a while a spirit will appear that you got to click on, and it'll give you good loot. And you do this for hours. And fucking hours. And so it's interesting because I was talking about this with my friend Brandon, and Brandon's like, "Ooh, maybe I want to get back in RuneScape." I was like, "No, don't do it. It's not worth it. Please don't. Just run. You'll hurt yourself." Because I started describing to him, and it's like, oh shit, I'm reading the YouTube chat. Sorry, people are saying horrible things in the chat. Mostly my wife. Speaking dark thoughts in my head about gifting me shit. No, you cannot gift me Stardew Valley as a gift, because that's probably one of the main reasons why I haven't played it yet, is because I won't buy it.
So let's talk about RuneScape 3. Now,
yeah, questions.
Just logistically, let's say I have, like, the last time I played RuneScape, it was still before classic old school RuneScape was a thing. It was like RuneScape 1, right?
Yeah,
I never played RuneScape 2 or whatever 3. So if I were to log in, assuming my account is still active, my character's still there, if I were to log in, would it just automatically import my character into RuneScape 3?
So let's say you played RuneScape, you started an account like 2005 or whenever, when you're younger, and you played it like up to the day before RuneScape 3 came out. If you're to go in there right now and you were to put a membership in, and I'll tell you what happens if you just do free to play, the account that was technically it looks like the old school would be now your RuneScape 3 account. So everything in RuneScape 3 is going to be everything that you did when you were a kid and you quit RuneScape.
Right.
And if you wanted to make an old school RuneScape account, you'd be starting from scratch, and you do need a premium account to play old school that way.
Okay.
Now, if you were to play just free to play, you can still play RuneScape 3 and all that, and it would be the same, but you won't have any access to old school RuneScape. And it's all on the same account, You can do different names, but it's under like the same banner. It's like having
Right.
a Blizzard launcher of sorts.
Okay.
So if you wanted to play with me and dredge up that old account that you swore you'd never touch again because you'd look like a dweeb in front of your family and friends, personal experience, then I would be more than happy to cut trees with you. And
Now,
for
Tyler,
those who-
you shouldn't be goading me into this, because then it's either I put all my time into RuneScape 3 and none into Breath of the Wild. So, personally for you, which one would you prefer?
oh no. No.
I think you're
Oh my
better
God.
off convincing Brandon to ruin his life.
No, Brandon's already ruining his life. He's playing Guild Wars 2 and Path
Oh.
of Exile. Yeah, I know. Poor soul.
Get an F in chat, please.
F in chat. Big F in chat. F minus. Nick, I would want you to play Breath of the Wild. The reason being is the amount of time that you can put in Breath of the Wild is finite. In RuneScape, that is not possible as far as
Well, I mean,
I'm
that
aware.
depends. If I was, and I'm not the kind of player, but what I really like also about Breath of the Wild is the DLC added a bunch of extra stuff to go hunt for, a bunch of extra quests. Trial of the Sword. You already have 120 shrines that you have to look for. You have the 4 divine beasts. You have I don't even know what the total number of Korok seeds is to find.
900.
900. And then you can also go into master mode, right? Or is it master mode?
It's like a separate save file, but yes.
Right. Yeah. No. And I wouldn't like, if you wanted to do that, you could. I would never.
I did it. I beat the game. I won't ever do it again.
It's not like, I'm not saying that I don't like challenge, but I'm not a person who's ever tried to play like a challenging video game. Because I'm just your standard hit normal. I'm good to go.
Nick, a couple of questions. Do you remember Thunderblight Ganon?
Yes, excruciatingly so.
How often were you able to land a consecutive hit on him? How many times were you able to parry multiple times in a row?
I never parried. I always did the perfect dodges, and I got it down consistently in his third phase officially. In his first phase, because I was going into it, it was my first dungeon. I was going into it with 13 stars and already the Master Sword.
Stars, geez, not even hearts. That's scary as shit, man.
13 hearts, my bad.
Are you playing the Nintendo 64 version of this? What's going on here?
It wasn't like
Modern.
super. It wasn't super difficult. So I think it only took 2 or 3 perfect dodges for me to get him down to phase 2.
You can imagine for somebody who, let's say, an average player who isn't perfected the parrying or dodging skill, would not be able to land a hit on it every single time. It would be a slow but steady fight.
Right.
In master mode, enemies that don't get damaged in time heal. So
You have to consistently
even hit him with an arrow. And during that phase where he's invincible and he's doing the lightning rod thing, he's healing back up. No, it's not fun. It sucks.
Yeah, no, no, I'm not gonna do that.
When you start master mode, there is a silver Lionel in the Great Plateau before you even get to the second shrine, just to remind you of your place in the world. It is a very sobering wake-up call. He just puts you in the middle of the fucking field, and you got to go around the entire plateau to keep clear of this bastard.
Yeah, so when you do the water divine beast Varuda, part of the quest involves you actually fighting a Lionel, and the Lionel wasn't super tough per se.
You fought
for
it?
me? Yeah, I fought it.
Oh, I stealthed all around. I was not messing with that guy.
No, like I guess I wasn't moving quietly enough, but it would just always notice me.
Okay, fair enough.
So when I was facing the Lionel, I finished one beast. So I was able to use my Urbosa's Fury, the thunder attack. I already had my the armor set that I was using then was already 3 stars. So like I was pretty beefy. I had weapons that were all above 30. It was just getting the timing right, because for the Lionel, more so than anybody else, the timing is not forgiving. like with the Guardians, it's super forgiving whenever you do the major or minor test of strength. Like as soon as that arm starts moving, you can dodge, and you're like, all right, dude, if I can hit him with the flurry rush, flurry attack, whatever.
Right.
But with Lionel, it has to be spot on.
And it sucks too because Lionels have different types of weapons. Some of them have double swords, some of them have a spear, some of them have a big sword, and their attack styles and timing are different. So if you're not prepared for one, basically you just have to try to dodge yourself, goodness sake, and then do the like perfect dodge when he charges at you or something similar like that. Yeah, Lionels are fun.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Do master mode if you're cool. I thought it was bragging rights to say I beat the game on master mode. It's just suffering. It's like why do that?
Some people enjoy that. I don't.
So, Nick, speaking of games that are so fucking hard that you it's just over the top here. I think we're gonna move on from the video game section. We're gonna go over to the modular segment that is very, very aptly titled, "What is the hardest game that made you quit?"
Fuck. We talked about this last night. Ratchet and Clank size matters.
Size does matter.
That game was something else. I believe it came out for the PSP first, whatever the successor to the PSP was. It might not have been the Vita. Hang on, but it was weird. It didn't. It wasn't the same devs. And so, I mean,
to be fair, a lot of the developers for the games on the PSP and Vita versions of the console games are usually different developers.
Yeah, so Ratchet and Clank Size Matters came out for the PSP and the PlayStation 2 at the same time, but it was High Impact Games that made it, and not Insomniac. And it was a different game. Like, I loved the Ratchet and Clank series growing up. I've played through those games several times. I've never touched the PS3 games because I never got a PS3. So playing Size Matters, I was excited because it was a new release, but it wasn't the same. And there was a point where no matter what I did, no matter what weapons I had, I just couldn't get. I think it was halfway through the game, like the boss, I just couldn't kill the boss. And again, like it was at this point where all the other games. So there was Ratchet and Clank 2. I think it was called Going Commando. Then there was Up Your Arsenal, and there was Dreadlocked or Deadlocked. The four main like PS2 games, right? The original series. When you beat them, you basically it gives you the option to do a New Game Plus, and which is harder, and it just makes everything that much more harder. And I beat those as well on multiple playthroughs, right? Because when you finish the New Game Plus, it doesn't go into New Game Plus Plus, but it just goes New Game Plus again. And so I've played those games over and over again, and I was like, all right, fuck yeah, new Ratchet and Clank game, let's get it. Got it. It was garbage. I quit.
Damn. On a similar note, not quite the same, but when I first got my PSP in high school, I'm trying to remember if I got it from Nick or if it came packaged in with the PSP console. I got a copy of the game called Daxter. Now, everybody knows Jak and Daxter from the PlayStation 2 era and all that stuff. And Amanda's giving 2 thumbs up. So
one of my favorite series as well. I played those games over and over again.
And I watched my other friend Nick play a lot of it, and it was enjoyable. It looked like a cool action platforming game. However, my first entry into the series was Daxter on the PSP, and I tried to get into it. And this is maybe not the hardest in terms of difficulty, but it was the hardest for me to enjoy. And just the way it was delivered, it sinks because I felt like Daxter was like the golden lines of the show, but sometimes it just wasn't even hitting it above the average, and it was getting rougher and rougher. And eventually I got sick of the game. It just felt too dry for my taste, and it actually ruined any desire for me to play a Jak game ever. Just
That's
because of that.
But I can understand that. Yeah.
Like, I reflect on it. I realize, I need to reconsider that the PSP spinoff of the Jak series, it should not be the one that, throws blood in the water here, or what's the poison in the well, I guess.
Poison in the well. I don't know. Bad apple, rotten apple in the bunch.
some wild thing like that.
Something
And
like that.
my prime example, though, which nobody is probably going to know about because I picked an obscure PlayStation 1 game, is a little game called Darkstone. Darkstone, to me, as I was trying to describe to Nick when I mentioned this, is it's a PlayStation 1 low budget equivalent of Diablo. You pick a class, you try to enjoy your character, and then you go on these bare bone quests to explore dungeons and whatnot with these very poor storylines, and you hope you get far and you get good. And it was because I didn't understand the concept of, if I'm going to play as a wizard, I shouldn't, beef up my strength or anything like that. I should, make sure to pick the spell that gives me more, magic. And eventually, even when I got far enough, the amount of enemies that would appear on the screen made it very difficult for the PlayStation controller to target them in a way that I was able to beat them down before they reached me and then proceeded to maraud me to death. It was ugly. It wasn't a AAA game, so I didn't know what to expect, but I was so invested in trying to beat this game, and as well as tried to defeat my own fears, because this game did a lot of dungeon crawling. And that time in my life when I was that young, I was so scared I didn't even want to do the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, let alone the Shadow Temple. So going into spooky crypts with skeletons and shit, it made it very, very miserable. But those who want to play it, it's out on fucking Steam for like $5. So, Darkstone, yeah.
The first game that I actually thought of, and I only just remembered when you posed this question, was the PlayStation 2 game, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. That was a fun game. Very much so. But right at the end, like as you get towards the game, and it was during the battle, that final battle in the tower where you're defending what I can't remember the name. I can't remember the names of things.
The Two Towers?
No, it wasn't the Two Towers. You were battling in a city, I think. It might have been Hornburg, maybe. It wasn't.
Can make up words. I believe you. Okay.
anyways, there was one specific moment where it was a time challenge where up on the ramparts in front of at the main gate, I think it was Gimli or Legolas who was fighting, and you're playing as Aragorn, and you're on the ground and a little bit away from the main gate. You had maybe 30-ish seconds, 45 seconds to get from there to go and help Legolas or Gimli, right?
I feel like I played a GameCube version of this game.
It might have. I believe it came out on.
I wouldn't doubt it if it came out.
Yeah, PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, mobile phone.
Yes, I did not like this game.
Yeah, and then there was 30 or 45 seconds where you had to go rescue whoever needed help, and you had to fight enemies on the way. But it was so late in the game that they were all pretty tough. I think I spent over 5 or 6 hours, as a growing up as a youngin', and I just couldn't get that down. No matter how perfect I beat each enemy, I just couldn't get to the person in time, and they always died. And then I had to restart from the checkpoint, and I gave up.
I'm trying to think of if there was any other games that was just so tough. Not because they were bad in my eyes, but they were just so difficult that even if I wanted to play, I couldn't do it. I was not getting good enough. Because usually, especially in this day and age, if there's a point where I'm just simply like, okay, there's a skill level beyond my understanding, I will either do two things. I'll watch somebody on YouTube play it just for the satisfaction,
right? Or
I'll cheat the shit out of it, provided it's a single player experience,
right?
But no, I can't think of any games that have been just too tough for me. Unless you count Resident Evil 7 on VR. That was way too hard for me for a very different reason, because that tested my fortitude and my blood pressure.
Two things which are, I think, essential to living a long, successful, healthy life.
Living in general, yes. Long and successful, I believe those are also requirements for that, yes. Although thinking about it, I kind of want to get a shot again, Nick. Just to see what it's like.
I think it's probably one of those things where you just gotta like chip away at it.
You chip away, putting on a helmet, and then facing off in virtual reality against horrific molded creatures. I don't know. I feel like I don't see the science behind that one.
These are not games for me, like horror in general.
Oh man, you want to play Dead Space 3 again?
That wasn't too bad because I was playing with you, but also no, I don't want to play it again.
Okay. Left 4 Dead 2?
No,
Good, because I don't either.
I've never played the games, so
I mean, it's a good game. Mostly, I guess. It's fun with friends. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay. So, Nick, can I have you take away the topic of the show?
All right. So, topic of the show is a big can of worms because I don't know. Okay. Let's just lead off with it. So,
do it.
We wanted to talk about the
balls.
recent discussion controversy regarding the difficulty and accessibility arguments over Sekiro, Never Die Twice, or Shadows Die Twice, which was the full
Shadows
Die Twice. Yeah,
I thought, or is it Shadows Never Die Twice?
Basically, Sekiro that recently came out, the ninja samurai game.
Shadow Die Twice. Okay.
Shadows Die Twice. Yeah. It's out on PS4 and Steam, right? It's not on Xbox, is it?
Okay. First off, my main question is, if it is on Xbox, who cares?
I don't know. I'm just trying to
on Xbox. Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody knows where this is available.
Oh no, I'm just trash talking Xbox One fans. Don't you worry.
So, Sekiro is a game by From Software. From Software is notably famous for making games such as the Dark Souls series, right? And these are games not for the faint of heart.
Is that how you're going to describe what could be one of the most challenging games ever since probably Dark Souls 3?
No, actually, because a lot of the people that enjoy these kinds of games have said this is nothing in comparison to Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, it has a different type of mechanic because, well, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say it with such confidence because I've never played the game. But I was described to you that this is the kind of game that forces you to play more aggressively versus trying to be defensive and parry in opportune moments.
Right.
Mostly because the enemies can heal themselves if you leave them alone too long.
Right. So the biggest issues that have been raised recently is that the game's too difficult, and people have argued that they'd like for the developers to include a difficulty slider or a way to change the difficulty to make it easier for some people to play. That's one. And the other has been to introduce options for people with disabilities to be able to play the game and enjoy the game. And while that's a little bit more of not a touchy subject, but a harder to navigate argument because we need to know exactly what kind of accessibility options we're adding. Because stuff like colorblindness, adding those options, that's not a big deal because you're not changing any of the core, anything of the core game or the product that they're delivering.
Right, it's a bunch of color sliders for the most part. It's fairly simple.
But let's start with the difficulty side of it. Now, this is one of the not few times, but me and Tyler have agreed on plenty of things before. This is the one where we've both wholeheartedly agreed that
Sekiro should have at least 5 different difficulties. More if you follow the Metal Gear Solid difficulty system. Yes.
Tyler and I
American normal. I want Japanese normal. I want Big Boss extreme. I want D-Boss extreme. Nick.
Right. We don't think that From Software should change the difficulty or include an option to change the difficulty.
Absolutely not. When it comes to accessibility, I am much more open for that for obvious reasons. But at the same time, I'm going to put a little pin on that. I'm going to push that to the side. And you know me, I love taking topics.
Yeah, no, and when, like accessibility specifically is difficult. Like I said, it's difficult to navigate because it's not that we want to exclude people. It's just how do you make a game accessible without without affecting the integrity of the game, or affecting the integrity, not integrity, but like the vision of the developers, right? And so changing the difficulty of a game based on the whim of people who can't play it or not, frankly, and this includes me, it 100% includes me, frankly don't have the patience or are not good enough to play these games, is a disservice to the developer, because they had a vision. They everything in the game didn't wasn't randomly put in. They didn't just make things difficult for the fuck of it. It was a choice. It was a design choice. It was an artistic choice. If we look at video games as art, this was an art product that they made for a very specific audience and for a very specific reason, and because they enjoyed making it.
We do have a message that is suggesting Bloodborne before you try Sekiro, I believe, saying by Native Olet. Thank you. Bloodborne is a game you'd want to play before playing any of the Dark Souls games. Kind of gets you introduced to a better aspect of the game that gives you the option to not rely on a shield, which I suppose that could apply in some shape and form in terms of difficulty.
Because Bloodborne is also another From Software title.
That is very true. I do believe that Bloodborne is yet another different style of gameplay when you play these kind of games. It just it sucks because I've never touched any of them besides Dark Souls 1. I did that as a joke and I will never do that again. And I appreciate these games from afar for what they do. People who play it and eventually become successful from it are usually pretty happy with themselves. I've not heard of any people that just, start spamming wildly on Twitter how much they hate From Software because their games are too hard. If they are, they're probably 12 and they don't follow the term of service of how old you have to be on Twitter. So I'm just saying. And Nick also wants to remind me there is also European The Boss Extreme as well. I forgot about that one. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Actually, it's probably what this game's difficulty is at.
But again, okay, think about it. Think about the video game as a product. Again, I'm going to repeat myself, but it was a product that had a specific vision, that has a specific goal, and they made it for a specific kind of player. The people arguing for a way to adjust the difficulty would be like my sister, who's a vegan, going into a KFC and yelling at them for not having vegan options for her.
There's potatoes. I'm not derailing the thing. I'm just joking. Please don't drop.
I didn't know how to react to that. That's it. That's the last thing I expected anybody to say.
Tyler, you fucking idiot. They use milk in those potatoes. That is not vegan. You get out of your sight. You check your privileges. You slaughtering animal murderer. You. Anyways,
but you know what I mean? Like, From Software makes a particular type of game, and just because you can't play it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I think there are games, there have to be games that everybody can enjoy on an equal platform, on an equal level. But there should also be games that not everybody can enjoy, because that's how you find beauty in like the kinds of games that you like. If this game is not for you, maybe you should not worry about this game. Maybe just watch people play it and go find a different game that you would enjoy that's maybe made for you, because there will be a game like that.
The people that are complaining about something like this are the mainstream audience of who wants to enjoy this kind of game, but they're not fully equipped either mentally or just skillfully. They're not able to handle this kind of game because they didn't know what they were expecting. Do you think anybody who's played Dark Souls or Bloodborne are complaining about having a difficulty scaling on this game?
No, because the people who've persisted through Dark Souls and Bloodborne are the ones who are playing this game religiously and through. They're the ones who enjoy these kinds of games.
And they are technically a niche audience versus all the other people that are going to buy this game. And From Software do need those people to gather enough funds so they can keep continuing and growing as a business. The problem is, though, it just sucks because people are trying to put their money where their mouth is, even though in this format, it's really not going to work, because if they don't buy the game, that just helps reinforces From Software's viewpoint that, you know, only the people who are going to play this game and enjoy it and get good are going to be able to beat it.
Right. And I, you know, for your argument there, I can understand that from a business point of view. But I also would, and I would like to just see sales, you know, just statistics to see how the Dark Souls series has performed and how Sekiro has performed in comparison, and the actual people who, like the people who are actually interested in playing this game with the kind of challenge it presents and beating it, and the people who've already come up with speed runs and cheeses. It's, you know, I just want to see from a business point of view how they're doing, but honestly I wouldn't be too worried about From Software from a financial point of view.
That is fair.
It's
Nick,
yes.
Go ahead. No, you had a thought.
No, I was just gonna go into the accessibility stuff, but before we go on to that,
If you think, or sorry, let me reform my thought here. If From Software were to create a game, it doesn't have to be Sekiro or Sekiro, and they provided maybe not necessarily a flat out challenge scaling system, but in general is very noticeably easier as a game. Let's say instead of making it crazy, you know, From Software level, it's just, you know, your standard God of War standard fighting stuff. Do you think that would cause a stir with the mainstream versus the niche audience?
yeah, 100%. Especially if that's their new flagship game, I do think that they wouldn't be happy. Well, I mean, that's actually that's hard for me to say. Because if they do make a game that's like, all right, you asked for it, here's a brand new game that has, you know, difficulty slide, like you can choose what kind of difficulty you want to play on, and you can play on, like, and as I discovered with Bayonetta, the normal difficulty was far beyond what I was used to or what I wanted. If the normal is there, if they,
beautiful.
honestly, if they piloted it,
main cast.
if they titled it as their normal difficulty is their standard challenge, like what their games are, and they have a super bitch mode, I would be happy with that. And that's just me being a little bit toxic. But no, so if it's like they have normal and they're like super simple, or baby mode, or something where it'd be like me. It's hard to put into words, but it's From Software does a particular thing, and if they wanted to really appease and appeal to a certain fan group, so a group of certain audience, I would, if I was them, I'd
make the difficulty easier for the furries, Nick.
I'd throw shade at them while doing it, while providing them that product.
Okay. I mean, I guess that would make sense. It's kind of weird, the idea of capitulating and then shaming the people that you're giving to. Like, all right, here you go. Kind of like Phantom Pain, where there is an easier difficulty, but you got to wear the like a rubber chicken head above your own head, and you know, whenever you get caught, people just laugh at you in the game. Right.
It's like Tyler, give me just off the let's say Terraria.
3.
No,
Terraria.
Let's say Terraria.
Let's talk about Terraria.
No, we're not going up on a rant about Terraria. No. Let's say Terraria, you log in and they give you an option where you can play the game as intended, or if you just click on this button here, you'll start with everything. Everything's already built. You'll just get all the materials, everything. Then so you just get into the game. You have everything. You have the best armor, the best weapons. Everything's been explored. All you built your little thing. All the people are already there. What do?
Creative mode. You start building cool castles. Nick, I'm sorry, I might be sidestepping your question in the wrong direction here, but it's the same thing in Minecraft. You know, if you give them everything, it's creative mode. You get to build and, you know, have fun with it. But if you're talking about in terms of advancing, you know, story plot and, you know, boss fighting and all that stuff, you're right. If you have everything, then there's no point in playing anymore.
Right. It'd be like I don't know, Breath of the Wild. I started the game with the Master Sword and the fucking shield and like the Guardian armor. What's to stop me from going straight to Ganon, beating him, and then just not touching the game ever again? Not exploring anything, not finding a single shrine, not finding a single Korok seed, not going after the Guardians, not getting any of their abilities, not fighting a Lynel. Just,
I'm guessing it would be the silver Lynel that gets you, but I could be wrong. Who do I know?
It's just I'm not a fan of people forcing things to change just for their benefit when it's not made for them. Um, like it sucks, and I can sympathize with that. Like I would have liked to play Sekiro. It's a beautiful game, but I'm not gonna because I don't enjoy that kind of challenge in my games. It's just not for me, and I'm not gonna touch it.
Can I backtrack like 25 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Master mode.
Yeah.
They introduce a new type of level of creature, the golden versions.
Okay.
In Breath of the Wild, a silver Lynel is the worst that you got to worry about.
Right.
In Master mode, there are golden Lynels.
So at that point, I just go fuck myself.
You assume the position, bite the pillow, and let it go in dry. It's bad. Okay, so accessibility.
So with accessibility, it's hard, man. Like I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think there are games.
That's the topic, Nick.
Hmm?
I'm legit nervous and scared to touch on this topic.
I am too, because I don't want to feel like I'm hating on anybody particularly. I want everybody to be able to enjoy video games. And I think with accessibility, it should be done carefully. Again, for me, it's the same thing as there are games, and there should be games that everybody can enjoy, regardless of whether whatever disability they have or whatever they're dealing with. There are games, and there should be games that are made for everybody, no matter what. And then there should also be things such as Sekiro, where they make it for a specific audience. And I really believe that sometimes, even for people with accessibility or disabilities, asking to be able to play the game, I don't think that a developer should compromise their own vision of what their game should be just to appease to a particular group of people.
Nick, your beloved vegan sister, in this wild example, she storms out of the KFC and she says, I want a burger. I want to be able to eat a burger like anybody else. But I have a disorder. For some reason, I'm vegan. Yes, I'm calling people who are vegans disorder. Anyways, does that mean that tofu burger should taste exactly like a burger? No, it's not gonna. It's gonna be a different experience. Should you expect the person that makes a burger to make a tofu burger? I guess sure, if you're McDonald's. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Right. No, but
I just want
so
I
with
the trashier vegan sister. I'm sorry.
I couldn't believe it when anyway. So with accessibility, I would like to see, and I don't know if this exists in the game already, but let's see with the PC version or the Xbox version, you could take Microsoft's adaptive controller and whatever other switches that just map buttons. I think that would be a good addition, but I don't think they should make it easier for people playing differently. Because you have in Dark Souls, you have people who fucking played it on PS4 and an Xbox simultaneously with one controller, and he's beat the game.
Oh geez.
You have people doing it all crazy sorts of ways, and I'm not saying that regular people would be able to do these things just off the bat, but this is a product made for a very specific reason, for a specific kind of gamer, and to the developers, the specific vision, specific art style, specific play style, and I believe it should remain as such. I'm happy to have things accessible and playable by everybody, but I don't think you should just apply that logic to everything, because everything's its own thing and everything has its own particular style.
It stinks because as a person in general, a person who with humanity, I would, happily strive and cheer on anybody that can create an ease of life for people who have disabilities or any kind of physical issues with their bodies that may cause them to have a normal life. The problem with that, though, in terms of video games, is it's mostly just visual mechanics that you see, and then it's just a bunch of little buttons. Now, I don't know how a game specifically, because we did talk about using the Microsoft controller in question for this game. It seems kind of hard to force this one game to have to, be the one to take the hit for not using the controller in its full capacity or whatever you want to try to argue for it.
Right.
I wonder if there's other games that have, gone under this debate, because honestly, I can't think of any.
Nothing in recent times since the adaptive controller has gone on sale, and I think people are raising an issue because of how beautiful the game looks, and people do want to play it. And putting aside the accessibility, the group, that's like talking strictly about the people who are arguing for a change in difficulty. Either you have the patience and resolve to chip away and work away at the bosses, or you just don't play the game. That's it. There are other games out there. Find a game that you don't have to waste your time arguing about on the internet, taking away energy and time away from you when you can put that into another game that you sincerely enjoy.
Absolutely. That's why I'm not touching Stardew Valley and I'm playing.
It's just
I can cut a tree in Stardew Valley. I understand this. But I can also do it in RuneScape, and I'm happy doing this.
And while you're doing that, you're gaining all of these other, experience in all these other areas.
I'm gaining reputation in a certain faction of Menaphos, okay?
Okay, all right.
I'm trying to get level 7.
All right, no need to swing your dick around, dude. Put it away. I believe you.
Yeah, I know, weird flex, but okay, right? And
but,
we're right, guys.
Like, I truly, like, for video games, I truly do want everybody to be able to enjoy regardless of what they're dealing with. But Sekiro is probably just not for you.
I just think that it would be more fair and understanding of the people who may be representing this in a more hardcore fashion. People I have no idea, I've never seen any physical proof of, but hypothetically, if they did exist, not to, unacknowledge you if you've been a strong advocate for From Software to make an accessible game, there's got to be better games that you would. I mean, it's a beautiful game, yeah, but there's got to be other games that you feel would be better suited for your position. Like, I would like to think, like, for myself, for example, not to say that I am physically handicapped beyond, missing a third of my calf. Oh boy, sorry. And that was PTSD just thinking about that one. I would like to specialize in a game that I don't think I'll ever be good at. I want to get good in a fighting game.
Right.
I can't do it. It's because I'm too slow. Not because I'm old. I tried practicing and all that stuff. I was just never able to get good. But right. I don't ever expect the game to, go back to only pushing 3 buttons, no combinations or anything like that to make it accessible to me. But you could still play the game, I'd like to think.
Right. No,
to some extent.
And I do believe, like, and reading through some of the articles over the past week and a half, based on the Sekiro and accessibility debate, I'm realizing that we do have a need for advocates for gamers with disabilities. We genuinely do, and I genuinely do want everybody to be able to enjoy playing video games. But this particular video game in question shouldn't be considered in that debate. Right. Let's start with the big AAA titles, and then start working our way down to the smaller ones, because maybe why
not shoot for a nice, a good strong hill than going for fucking Everest right off the get-go.
Right, because because things have to change, and I think a lot of companies in any kind of industry are not always thinking about people with disabilities. Right.
Can you imagine this argument if it was thrown against people who played the Wii? Like playing Skyward Sword, where everything's motion control and all that stuff. it would be vicious. I'd be afraid. I mean, maybe not afraid. Nick, I do believe that we talked a good fair amount about this. I do think that it might be time to wrap it up.
Yeah, no, I think advocates are important for gamers with disabilities. I just don't think that this is the hill that you should die on.
Or, if you want to keep talking about it, I'd like to point out that 2 years ago, there was just such a beautiful thing for the convention that happened over in Great Britain for RuneScape, where they showed how people can play RuneScape using adaptive controls and whatnot. And I think it's beautiful. Also, my name is 2X Tyler on RuneScape. You should play with me.
And I'm done.
I figured that'd get us to end. Let's see. Okay, so Nick, do you want to do this day in gaming, or would you like to do game releases?
I've been talking for quite a bit, so why don't you talk about game releases, Tyler?
I feel like this is gonna go terribly. So, coming out on April 16th, we got 3 games. April 16th, which I believe is Tuesday, we have Anno 1800 for the PC. I do not know what that game is, unfortunately. We have Final Fantasy X, or Final Fantasy X, and Final Fantasy X-2 HD Remaster, which has been coming out, I think, ever since the PlayStation 3. But, you know, so long as there is a console for it to be released on, it shall be done. It's almost like...
Sorry, really quickly. Anno 1800 is a city-building RTS video game developed by Blue Byte and published by Ubisoft.
Okay, fair enough. Ubisoft, I'll take that. And so Final Fantasy X and X-2, the remaster set, is coming out on the Nintendo Switch and Xbox One. World War Z is coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, also on this Tuesday.
Third-person shooter video game.
Oh, okay. I was going to say a farm simulator, but yeah, sure, that works. A big one that I would like to think coming out from the Nintendo Switch, coming out on the 18th, which is this Thursday, Cuphead. Cuphead is finally making its break over to the Nintendo Switch. It will be coming out this week, and people should be excited for it. You haven't given it a shot. And speaking of games that are challenging, but still gives you a fair chance of things, I think Cuphead would be another good example. But anyways, and lastly, on the same day, April 18th, coming out for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch, Our World Is Ended, which is weird because I thought it almost sounds like the world ends with you. So the fact that this, I don't even know what this game is about.
It's a visual novel. It's new. It recently, it's brand new, and it's a visual novel.
Okay, fair enough. And lastly, because I missed one here, coming out for April 20th, which is Saturday, which is interesting because usually games don't come out on Saturdays. Okay. It's the Konami Anniversary Collection, arcade classics, coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Notice there is nothing for the Vita.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so we are about to do an interesting little experiment. Are you ready for this, Nick?
I'm ready, 100%.
Nick knows exactly where the fuck this is going. You see, there is a weird spot in my show notes that looks like a blank list, and you know what? Tyler cannot let that do. That is this day in gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read off this day in gaming, the important games that have come out. In fact, it's throwing me off because not only does he have it on the wrong day, because it's supposed to be for April 15th, I am going to tell you beautiful birthdays that are coming out.
You know, that makes a lot of sense. That's probably why I couldn't find anything coming out.
I'm going to tell you the most inane bullshit stuff because I'm not going to cherry pick through this. In 2017, Doom came out. Holy crap. In Germany. Happy birthday.
Let's see.
WWE 2K16 came out in 2017 for the PlayStation 4 in Germany.
There's a lot of German releases on this day.
Bravely Second and Lair came out for the Nintendo 3DS in 2016 in the United States, which stinks because I was a big fan of Bravely Default, but that was another game I could not finish because it kept resetting itself. Like, there's a part of the story where you got to reset and do the worlds over and over again, and I lost my shit and I quit. Great game.
That's unfortunate.
Kind of, sort of. Let's see. 2015, I see this. Holy fucking shit. I see, I'm guessing, somewhere between 1 and 200 lists of DLC for Dead or Alive 5. So happy birthday to all the DLC of Dead or Alive 5. Holy God, that is a lot. Also, FIFA 14 came out, Germany. So it just got, shout out for the Germany guys. Let's see. A bunch of Mii outfits came out for Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS and Wii U version. Congratulations over in the US and Canada. Shout out to us. Do you see anything so far, Nick?
It's just all German releases. Nothing specific. Like 2010, we've got Maple Story that came out on DS in South Korea. That's interesting, I thought.
Nick, are you telling me that you missed a very important game?
Oh, here we go. What did I miss, Tyler?
Well, let me find one first before I commit to this. I'm scrolling as fast as I can, okay? Tanko Box, the Bata version came out worldwide. I have no idea what that is.
Well, that's tight, dude. And in 2003, Atlantis Underwater Tycoon came out in the United States.
Really? Wow, that sounds interesting.
Oh, actually, this is pretty interesting. 2002, Bejeweled Deluxe came out for the Palm OS worldwide. I love Bejeweled back in the day, dude.
I haven't played Bejeweled in a very long time.
What's up?
I was gonna say it's my favorite restroom activity.
I see. 1999, Prince of Persia got his Game Boy Color release in the United States. One of my favorite games too, when Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and I think it was Two Swords or Two Thrones came out, or Two Kings. It's one of my favorite trilogies.
In 2005, The Matrix Online got released in the Windows version for the United Kingdoms. It is a very popular MMO that ended about 4 or 5 years ago. Rest in peace for those who didn't know. The Matrix did in fact have an MMO. As you can also guess, it did not go so well at all.
I think I'm good on my side, Tyler. I'm all the way down here, and there's nothing that I can pick out.
But I'm seeing Prince of Persia for the Game Boy Color in the United States, 1999.
You just said that.
I know.
Okay.
I realized as I said it. I'm like, wait, he probably said this. How about the popular game for the Altair 8800 version in the United States, 1976? Catch.
Oh shit, dude! Catch came out this day in 1976.
1976. Now I gotta recheck. Yeah, in 1976. Holy shit, Catch. Am I saying that
dude.
right?
Yeah, dude. My father was born in. When was my dad born? I think he was born in 1975. So as a 1-year-old growing up in rural India, he definitely was playing on the Altair 8000.
Oh my gosh.
8800.
There's Nick, you and I both know that even though by that point a lot of British influence have left India, there was still quite a bit of backlash, and especially with the sporting competitions, and sometimes they wouldn't let the natives play. And so what better way could they play catch but with their own video game systems that they got?
Oh shit, no, never mind. My dad would have been 11 then. My math was off. My mom would have been 3, 4.
Then I'm gonna have to make up an entirely other bullshit story. What the fuck are you doing with me? Tell me he's 21.
My bad, dude.
He drank and played catch now. Oh boy.
Seems about right.
I'm done here. I just looked at YouTube. Nick is losing his shit over every single thing we mentioned here. Oh, Nick wants to also point out that the couple of games are coming out for Vita, but that doesn't matter. You can find me on Twitter at 2timestyler.
I'm sorry, I've just never heard of the Vita, so I don't know why I was laughing there.
Nick, find me a game for the Wii U, and then I'm listening. Otherwise,
so as you were saying, Tyler, before I interrupted you with my laughing, we can find you where on Twitter?
Crossovers by Paugi. It's a Vita cross-buy. Iron Snout is also for the Vita, also cross-buy. And Nurse Love Syndrome RE Therapy is a Vita exclusive. 3 fantastic games that are coming out for the Vita this week. You can find me on Twitter at 2timestyler. Those are all letters, one word. You can find me on RuneScape at #2 lowercase x Tyler. Do it. You won't. No balls, big balls. Nick, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter at LRWarrior11. Yeah.
And you can find what I presume is our number one fan, best friend Nick, aka Axel 0bullet019, in our YouTube channels, nihilistically defending the Vita one step at a time. But shout outs to this day goes to everybody. I just want to say thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. We will see you next week. We do have some more good stuff, and then we got all sorts of bonus activity. Please be hyped. There's all sorts of good stuff coming your way.
Tyler.
Nick.
You can find the podcast on
next week
on Twitter at Master.
Just because I fucked up doesn't mean I can't roll with it. I didn't say the final words, okay?
You can find the podcast. You can find us, Casual Master Quest, on Twitter at MasterQuestPod, or you can email us at casualmasterquest@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook if you just type in the search bar Casual Master Quest, and we should pop up. And also on Instagram at Casual Master Quest. Content for Instagram has been rolling out consistently now and will be. So drop us a follow everywhere. And if you follow the Instagram, you'll be able to see highlights of Tyler's visit to Canada.
And if you visit the Facebook page, we'll give you free compliments. There's a giveaway going on for that right now.
Oh, 100%. For every time you drop a like, we'll say something nice about you.
Absolutely. Starting right now, Saturday, April 13th, listeners, if you listen and you say hello, we'll say hello back. One-time offer.
That we will extend next week, but don't wait.
Don't you fucking wait. Anyways, that was Nick. That was also Tyler. And this is a mysterious voice. You have no idea who it is.
And this is Nicotron 3000. We will see you next week. And don't forget to never stop the grind.
We will see you next week, guys. Thank you very much. I love you. Don't forget about us. We'll be here. We love you.
Love you too. Bye.
He said it to me. He said it to me.